Hi, I'm Jacob Fryer. We're going to take a look at my timeline for my professional development in terms of using Google Suites for collaboration for both colleagues, professional learning communities, and for students. Despite all the technology used in today's classroom, one thing that I found from my needs assessment for my colleagues is that a lot of them are still uncomfortable using the Google Suite when it comes to sharing and collaborating tools and files and things like that. The first 15 minutes of the professional development is going to be listening to a TED Talk about the importance of collaboration by Dr. Shelley Van Etten de Sanchez. And then the next 10 minutes or so is simply going to be a discussion on how we collaborate with our colleagues and the value that we gain from that collaboration. The next 15 minutes of the professional development is going to be all about the Google Suite and collaboration, being introduced to that if they haven't already. Right, they're going to read an article, Google collaboration tools your business can benefit from, and then you're going to discuss it in small groups and talk about how, even though that article is geared towards business, how it can relate to education. The next 25 minutes of the professional development is going to deal with editing, viewing, forced copies, copying files, copying folders, in terms of the Google Suite, and showing how to actually share files and whatnot, and all that goes into that. And then giving, of that 25 minutes, around 10, 15 minutes for the participants to kind of create and explore and see and implement what they've learned. After a quick 5-minute break, the next 30 minutes will be dedicated towards inserting links and connecting materials to other Google Docs and slides and other things in the Google Suite. This includes links, whether it be to a previous file or to YouTube implementing it into a Google slide, for instance. For the next 10 minutes in our professional development, students are going to participate in the formative assessment for their 5-minute break. For the formative assessment is simply just a Google form with 5 questions. The first question, so far the content matches my expectations for the professional development. Second one, the pace of the content and the professional development so far is too slow, too fast, just right. The third question is the G Suite tools are easy for me to understand, getting easier for me to understand, and still hard for me to understand. The fourth question is I would like for more time for collaboration, more time with the facilitator going through the examples, more time to work my own. And the last question is what I have enjoyed the best so far about this professional development is, and that concludes the formative assessment portion of this. After the second 5-minute break, the group's going to come back and they're going to essentially brainstorm about potential student applications. So we're going to move away from collaboration with colleagues and talk about students and the opportunity for students to collaborate with one another when creating materials to display their knowledge of the content. Once the brainstorming session is complete, the next 25 minutes are going to be dedicated to PLC collaboration. This is when the PLC can work together and talk about sharing materials and discussing how they want to include collaboration in the content areas that they teach. After the PLC collaboration time, there'll be a 5-minute break. Then the next 15 minutes, everyone will reconvene and kind of discuss and present what they came up with in their individual PLCs to see if anyone else can grab the material that was discussed from any of the other PLCs. And then the final part of the professional development is the summative evaluation. The first of the 6 questions is I will use the skills I learned in this professional development in the near future by the end of the current unit I am teaching or at the beginning of the next unit before the end of the semester. Not sure if I'll use the skills I learned yet or not. The final 5 questions are all responses with strongly disagree, I disagree, neutral, agree, or strongly agree. The facilitator was knowledgeable about the content. The facilitator materials provided for learning were adequate. The facilitator's ability to communicate was satisfactory. There was enough time devoted to experimenting using the concepts that were taught. And then there was enough time devoted to the concepts that were stated at the beginning of the PD. That wraps up my 3-hour professional development module about the G Suite of tools and the importance of collaboration. I know that this is a concept that I'm sure a lot of teachers are familiar with, but it doesn't ever hurt to review over this, help out some colleagues who are struggling with these concepts, and then to have that strong focus on collaboration in the classroom.